welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take all that source material, cut through the noise, the negotiation chatter, and really pull out the key bits of knowledge for you. Today, we are getting into the very high-stakes world of Formula One driver deals. Specifically, Mercedes-AMG F1. They've closed that chapter, the tedious negotiations are done, but really the interesting part is just starting.
That's absolutely right. What we want to do today is unpack these confirmations for you, look at the performance differences because they are quite stark, and crucially explore this huge shadow, the shadow cast by a four-time world champion over the team's whole strategy moving forward.
And that key detail you mentioned.
Yeah, the contracts, only 1 year, just through 2026. And you've got to ask, what does that short time frame really signal about, their bigger plans?
Okay, let's dive into that. The confirmed lineup first. Mercedes has renewed George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. No big surprises there in terms of names.
Nope, those were the expected drivers.
But like you said, it's the duration. Why just 1 year?
Exactly. Both deals locked in only until the end of the 2026 season. Now, TOTO WOLFF, the team principal, he sounded pretty confident, didn't he? Said confirming them was simply a question of when.
Yeah, implying it was always going to happen. Stability.
Right, but that 1 year term, that screams flexibility, not long-term stability. And if you zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. This short term is actually, quite a smart move strategically. It aligns Mercedes' contract timelines with most of the grid for the first time in ages.
Ah, okay. So they're setting themselves up for
2026. The massive rule changes, the whole competitive order could get shaken up. And Mercedes, they're keeping their options wide open for the years after that reset.
Right. And for George Russell, he's 27, got 4 wins under his belt. This must feel like continued trust from the team. He sounded proud, didn't he? Mentioned 2026 will be 10 years since he first joined them back in, 2017 as a junior?
Yeah, a decade with the team. And he feels he's coming off his strongest season in F1. He sounds ready.
Okay, that part tracks. But then we look at the other side of the garage, Kimi Antonelli. Looking at the performance data we pulled, the team's faith seems like a bit of a gamble, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially on just a 1-year deal.
The contrast is pretty stark. Let's just look at the numbers from the sources.
Yeah.
Russell's year, described as outstanding. You've got those key wins, Canada, Singapore, solid performance.
And the points tally reflects that.
Absolutely. He's sitting 4th in the standings, 237 points. That's proper frontrunner stuff.
Okay, now Antonelli.
His season, the source material calls it discreet. 19 years old, Italian, barely made the podium in Montreal, and compared to Russell, he's been, quite a way off. Qualifying, races, the gap's been there.
And the points difference.
Huge. He's 7th with 88 points. So you're looking at, what is that? A 149-point difference between the two drivers they've just confirmed? That's massive.
So with that kind of gap, why guarantee Antonelli the seat through 26?
Yeah.
Puts immense pressure on him, right? And on the team's judgment.
Yeah, it does. And the sources are pretty clear on this. It feels political. Antonelli's seat is safe because he was, and I quote, a personal bet of TOTO WOLFF.
Ah, so it's about backing his own pick.
That seems to be the critical insight, yes. This isn't just about developing young talent, though that's part of it. It's about WOLFF validating his own eye for future stars. Antonelli did acknowledge it's been tough, said he learned a lot, especially from the complicated moments. You have to give him that.
Sure.
But this is effectively WOLFF putting his protege and his own judgment to a very public test. The renewal says, we believe. The 1-year term says, okay, now prove it. Fast.
That pressure cooker environment. Wow. Not just for Antonelli, but Russell, too. Knowing the short leash. Actually, speaking of trying to make sense of all these strategies, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the F1 contract game and you want this kind of analysis regularly, maybe just take a quick second now to hit subscribe on the Draught Zone channel here on YouTube. We put these informed breakdowns out weekly, and you probably don't want to miss what comes next. Okay, so back to that 1-year puzzle piece. If they've got Russell and Antonelli locked in, but only for a year, who's this seat being kept warm for? That's the big elephant in the room, isn't it?
It is. And the answer seems pretty clear-cut, actually. It explains the short deals entirely. The sources we looked at confirm TOTO WOLFF was actively trying to talk to Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen. For 2026.
Yep. Apparently during those most critical moments at Red Bull earlier on, it wasn't just speculation.
Wow.
For WOLFF, getting the 4-time champ, that's still the priority objective. That's the dream ticket back to fighting for titles, you see.
Okay, the ambition is clear.
Totally. Russell and Antonelli, great drivers. But right now, their contracts look a bit like well, like placeholder deals. High-stakes waiting room tickets while Mercedes eyes the main prize.
But hang on, isn't Verstappen locked down at Red Bull? Like, solid contract until 2028. Red Bull doesn't just let drivers walk away. Seems like a long shot.
It does on the surface.
Yeah.
But it seems to hinge on a very specific potential loophole. The source material points this out.
A loophole in Verstappen's contract.
Potentially. While it runs to 2028, yeah, there are apparently ways to change teams as early as 2027. Sooner than you'd think.
And what triggers that?
Performance. Specifically, if the car, after those huge 2026 rule changes, isn't good enough, if it doesn't let him fight for good results, that could be his out.
Okay. So Mercedes is essentially betting that Red Bull might mess up the 2026 regs. Badly enough for Verstappen to activate an escape clause.
That seems to be the gamble. It completely changes how you view the timing of their own one-year deals, doesn't it? They want to be free right when he might become free.
It really does. And are they the only ones thinking this way?
Oh, definitely not. The sources indicate McLaren is also watching that Verstappen situation very, very closely. They're connecting the dots, too.
So the whole grid is watching Red Bull and Max for 2026, 2027.
Pretty much. Everyone knows the 26 rules are the biggest chance in years to maybe, just maybe, poach the grid's top driver.
So wrapping this section up, what's the immediate takeaway from Mercedes? This announcement locks things down for now, but it's all about that future flexibility, isn't it?
Exactly. Short term. They've got to focus. Final 6 races of this year, fight for the Constructors' Championship. That's the practical job right now.
Get the points, get the money.
Precisely. But the real prize, the big strategic goal, is being ready for that new era of F1 from 2026. Those rule changes are everything. And Mercedes wants to be perfectly placed, with driver contracts ending just as the whole driver market could, explode if Verstappen becomes available.
And it's not like the rest of the grid is settled either, right? Even with Mercedes sorted for 25 and 26.
Not at all. Still some big question marks for 2026. You've got Racing Bulls, what happens there, who partners Verstappen at Red Bull long term, and that second Alpine seat, the one Colapinto's in now, it still needs confirming for 26. So yeah, lots of pieces still moving.
It really shows how much everyone is hedging their bets around 2026.
Absolutely. So if you synthesize the Mercedes strategy here, these one-year deals, they do 2 things quite cleverly, actually. 1, they secure the talent they need right now. You've got Russell, proven race winner. And you've got Antonelli, Wolff's personal pick, the potential future star. That's covered.
Okay. And the second thing?
Maximum agility. Flexibility. If, and it's still an if, but if a superstar like Verstappen hits the market because of those rule changes or a performance clause, Mercedes is ready. They're not tied down.
It's a high-risk, high-reward play.
Definitely. Masterful strategy if it pays off. Huge gamble if it doesn't.
Right. Which brings us to the final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Given everything we've unpacked, the radical 26 rules, the Verstappen factor, the short contracts, do you think this Mercedes strategy is a stroke of genius? A brilliant gamble that lets them potentially snatch Verstappen and dominate the new era? Or could it backfire? Could it leave them scrambling if, say, Russell has an amazing 2026, outperforms expectations, and suddenly every other team wants him just as his Mercedes contract runs out? Will they end up fighting a bidding war they created?
Which scenario feels more likely to you? A brilliant coup or a potential own goal?
Something to think about. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe here on the Draft Zone for more deep dives like this. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.